I mean, I made that move, and that one move changed my whole life. So you never know. You never know what's gonna happen. So to be positive, it's like they say this other day is a baseball player, right? That goes up to bat, right? Baseball player, and let's say they're averaging well, three something, 3 point whatever. You know what that means? That means that every time they go to bat 10 times, 3 times they get a hit. And they're professionals. You know what I mean? So, and 3 times every 10 at bat is good for a baseball player. Most are 2 point something. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So imagine that 7 times you strike out or you get an out. But there's still professionals. You know what I mean? So,
but they're still going for it. You're saying they're still swinging.
You're still swinging, right? And they're still the greatest. They're still the greatest in that sport. I'm talking about professional players. You know what I mean? So my story is that you're not always going to get a hit. You know, that doesn't make you a loser. You get up and you try it again. And you try it again. That's how you become great. Is you don't give up. You know.
The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back to Flash Talks. I go by the name of Flashback, and this is history worth listening to. Ladies and gentlemen, on tonight's episode of Flash Talks, we have a special guest who has dedicated nearly 3 decades to the world of sports, entertainment, and dance. He was born and raised in Gary, Indiana, a city that also happens to be the birthplace of Michael Jackson. Growing up on the border of the South Chicago in the mid-'80s, he was introduced to hip-hop and fell in love with breaking, aka bboying. He began his journey with a neighborhood crew, but later joined the renowned group called High Voltage, where he spent his battling years. Our guest has an impressive resume in the world of dance, having performed for large crowds and festivals with crowds as big as 50,000, even more. And he has worked with major freestyle groups such as Joel and Legacy and performed on popular shows such as MTV, The Jenny Jones Show, America's Funniest Videos, Ellen DeGeneres. He was also a grand champion on the 30 Seconds to Fame and even had the opportunity to work with Flo Rida. But that's not all. Our guest talents extend beyond just dance. He has helped choreograph and produce live shows for Disney, showcasing his creativity and artistic skills. Not only that, he put a lot of B-boys and B-girls to his show called Street Breakz. And I'm talking about top B-boys and B-girls around the world that you guys know about. And we're going to talk about it in a few. He showed his passion for his craft and a wealth of experience in the entertainment industry. Our guest is truly a force to be reckoned with. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Al Fuentes. What's going on, brother?
What's up, bro? Hey,
How
we
you doing?
finally,
How you like the intro, brother?
that's dope, man. I like it. I
Good,
like that
good, good.
That Steve's. He put some style on there.
You have to. But man, welcome to the show. Welcome to Flash Talks. We're gonna have a few hours here talking about your life. And one of the reasons why I do the show is to give you my flowers. You've been one of the brothers that put me on when I moved out here to Florida from New York City, and I'm truly grateful for that. And not only me, so many dope b-boys and b-girls around the world that have done the movie like Step Up. Some of them went Hollywood. And we're going to get to that. But thank you. And I want to give you my flowers now because you're still with us. And I want to make sure that you know that I appreciate you. And thank you for being part of the show.
No, I appreciate it, man. I know we've been talking about it for a minute, but life of an entertainer, it's hard for us to get some time. But you know what? I'm very honored to be part of this show. Love to. I'm excited about talking about history and all the good times we had, man.
Nice, nice. So we're gonna start off from the top because I know, like you said, we're busy in entertainment. There's so many other things we're doing. We're running businesses, and hopefully, we inspire other brothers and sisters to do the same. And we gotta get back to that. So we're gonna start off with the first question: how were you introduced to the hip hop culture? And I'm talking about before you saw graffiti, before you saw breaking, before you saw DJing, MCing, all that good stuff. Like, I want you to tell me. Let's go you around 10, 12 years old when you were in Gary, Indiana. Talk to us about that.
When I lived in Gary, I was still young. I was probably between 10 and 12 years old, and that's when some of the top music started coming out back then, and I think one of the first albums I ever bought was Sugar Hill Gang, Rapper's Delight, and just something about the music, something about the vibe. I was like, I have to learn this whole song. So, I think there's a lot of people that when they heard that song, they just got inspired, um, and that's why so many people know all the lyrics to that song. Because it was something that's been stuck in my life, in my head. And I know that I can still remember looking at that album when we had vinyl, and you bought it and you put it on the record player and you were like, and then you just listen to it over and over until that thing got grooves in it. You know what I mean? So I think the music kind of inspired me first, but then, when I started seeing, when it first started coming out, like on Soul Train and stuff like that, I started seeing some of the moves and the acrobats, because that's what inspired me too, is all the acrobatic flips and all that too. And I love the way they mix the skill of tumbling with dance, and thus that's kind of how I got inspired, and that's how I got my name as well.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Now, were you into, besides like rap? Was there any Latin influence like that you were listening to, or there was not really? It was mostly rap you were listening to at that time, or do you grow up predominantly where blacks and Latinos, whites, or like what's your background? Talk to me about your background. Like, I know you're from out there up north, but what's your background?
well, I mean, I'm Mexican American, but I mean, I grew up in a predominantly black city, where I was a minority. So, I feel like I got a lot of my flavor, a lot of my soul from the black culture too, because that's who I hung out with. That's who I was around all the time, and um, I think when I was young and I started not even breaking, just dancing, they would have dances back then,
Mm-hmm.
not so much now, but back then, we would always go to, house parties, to dances at, the local place and all that. And I was, for being Mexican, I had a lot of soul, so I fit right in, and I probably surprised a lot of, some of my black friends and stuff like that. They're like, "Damn, man, you could dance." You know what I mean? So, I think that's where my passion for dance came. Is that when I did it, I got reaction from it. I got positive vibes from it, and I just wanted to do more.
I see. Now, the fact that you say you're Mexican American, I know there was always parties at your house then. There's always something going on.
Oh
There was
yeah,
always some type of
yeah,
party. So
yeah.
were you learning all these dances and you got influenced usually through the family dances, or was it something that you were watching everywhere in the streets on TV? Like, how was it that you got brought up with so much soul and dance? Was it through your family before you even went to clubs and because I'm talking about like you around 10, 12, and you like you were mentioning earlier, like what
Right.
was it the most that you were growing up with your family?
Well, I think when I was 10 or 12, that's when breaking first. That's when I started, b-boying back then. But I mean, prior to that, I was just dancing. There would be, like I said, house parties, or there'll be like, there'll be dances that all my brothers and sisters did. I would learn them, and do them. You know what I mean? So I think I got inspired too. I mean, I grew up. A lot of people don't know I was adopted by my grandmother. Um, so by law, all my uncles and aunts became my brothers and sisters, which is kind of
Ah,
weird. It's hard to explain, but
no, I know exactly what you're talking about.
so I mean, I had a lot of older brothers, or slash uncles that they danced, they did disco, they did that stuff. So I mean, my dance comes from all kinds of uh genres. You know what I mean? Like I learned disco, I learned how to how to hustle. You know what I mean? I learned. Uh, then I went to school with all black. Majority black friends and people, and so I got a lot of the soul from that. You know what I mean? So, you know, disco, hip hop, and then I even had white cousins, so they would listen to rock. So I was well rounded. I could fit into anything. I just hear music and vibe, and that's what I think. That was the slow process of me just loving dance in general, not for say hip hop. I didn't know what it was when I was 8 or 7, or you know what I mean. I was just dancing because it felt good. That's all.
Nice. Now, I want you to take us back to the moment that you started recognizing certain really cool things of any other elements of hip hop that you started realizing that you're like, man, this is cool. Graffiti or breaking or DJing or emceeing. Like you mentioned earlier, rappers that like everybody's singing to it. Around that time, were you already influenced watching graffiti? Everyone around was dressing fresh, b-boy style, all that. And were you around it as a kid, or something that you started learning as you were getting a little older?
Well, I mean, a lot of things. I like b-boying been around since the 70s. So but it was more underground then. But in the 80s, b-boying kind of went like this. Go up, then went commercial, then went down, then it came back commercial. You know what I mean? So the first time that it went commercial, in when I was growing up, that was in like maybe the mid 80s, and that's when I mean it happened so fast because um it was a culture that just came mainstream, and it just, I mean, it went from never seeing it to seeing it all the time. You know what I mean? And seeing these artists on Soul Train, and seeing the dance moves on. I say Soul Train because like back then we didn't have YouTube, we didn't have where we see like 1 or 2 videos, and guess what? You watch those over and over and over because you didn't have options. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
That was there. That's what you had to watch. You know what I mean? So I watched that. I say I got a little bit from everywhere because inspired by the music, inspired by 2 of my boys that live in my neighborhood. We were like best friends, and they were 2 black twins, and they were like 2 towers next to me. So I hung out with them all the time. We would practice. They would one of them was a DJing on one of those, a record player that that has a belt on it, and it's not even the technique. It's just regular record player, and he would like squeeze the middle of the knob and slow it down like that. As I was inspired by the DJ part with him doing that, because he was doing that with a home record player. You know what I mean? Not with
messing up the record players. I did that too. I messed my dad's vinyl because it didn't have, like you said, the rubber band to make you could scratch on it.
Exactly. So I mean, there was so many just moments like that. It's hard to remember because I was such a young kid, but there's certain things that just stick in my head, and I know that it was in the early 80s and 85, and that's when it started coming out. And then once the movies started coming out, or like Flashdance and that kind of stuff, and just like Flashdance, right? You saw the backspin, and that was like maybe 2 seconds of the movie, and you watched that 100 times. You know what I mean? Just 'cause you were like, damn, you know what I mean? So
yeah. Now you mentioned the twins. Who were your mentors and teachers around that time that were kind of guiding you besides them? Like, was this somebody kind of like, because it doesn't have to be a person. It could be watching movies. It could be whatever. Like, whatever is your inspiration, it could be taught as a teacher as well. Like, who were they?
I mean, back then, I really didn't have a lot of mentors because art was, as far as b-boying, the art was so new, like on the streets, that I wasn't in New York. I mean, Chicago, yeah, there were probably mentors in Chicago, and I heard about like Wicked and that kind of stuff, but I never got to see him because I was, whatever, maybe 30 or maybe an hour away from where he was, you know what I mean? But we never, I was a kid, I couldn't drive to Chicago, you know what I mean? So
now, do you run into anyone dancing, or do you see anyone like in the floor spinning or trying it, or even like stuff that has to do with the elements of the culture?
Yeah, you would see it everywhere. Back then, you would, what people always joke about is cardboard boxes everywhere. You know what I mean? We practiced in my boy's garage that was all abandoned and torn up, and we, took our spray cans and we did our graffiti on the walls by ourselves. We put out the cardboard, we taped it down. We did all that stuff on our own, but we, I didn't grow up, with a lot of money. You know what I mean? I grew up, I don't want to say poor, but we were close, we were maybe one level up, you know what I mean? So we didn't have a lot of money, So
will you say between poor and the middle class, you were like in the middle of that?
I'll be closer to poor, but yeah.
You were with your grandmother, and then you had a bunch of brothers and sisters who were basically cousins and uncles, but they were your brothers and sisters. How many of y'all in the crib?
Well, the thing is, once I was adopted, all my older brothers and sisters were out the house. Only one I grew up with is my other 1 year older sister than me, and she was adopted just like I was. So yeah, I grew up just in a household of two, but they, my uncles and them, they would all come back and forth. You know what I mean? And I would see them obviously daily, but they didn't live with us. You know what I mean?
Okay, now moving on to like when you started now really getting down and you started realizing you were pretty nice with it. Not only dancing and grooving, but when you started realizing that you started learning how to flip, do a little move, and then now you got serious into this, that you were like, yo, I'm gonna do this. What year and how did it happen?
I would say the year, once again, was probably around 86, maybe. That's when I was really into it. And that's when we would go to, we would practice, and I think one time I forgot where we were at, but we were dancing, and some older dude came up to me. He was like probably 20, you know what I mean? And he was like, yo, man, you're sick, bro. Like, are you part of a crew? Who you with, all that, you know what I mean? And I was like, like, no, I'm not a part of any crew. But he was like, yo, you got to come join our crew, or come practice with us, because because you're nasty, you know what I mean? And I was like, all right. I'm like, yo, I'll do it. I was, 12 years old, you know what I mean? And so when you grow up like that, and like the way I grew up like I had my parents, but they worked all the time. So I was by myself a lot, you know what I mean? So thank God my mom and my parents, they were pretty open with me and they let me make my own decisions, all that. So I didn't really have any boundaries, you know what I mean? I could have went this way or that way, you know what I mean? And so anyway, that was that crew that was from a city, away from me, and they were called High Voltage. And I was like, all right, cool. So I went, and everybody there was older than me, you know what I mean? We would practice and all that, and then they were like, all right, we're gonna go battle at this place called Showcase. And they're like, can you go? And I'm like, I'm pretty sure I could go, and my mom asked my mom, she's like, yeah, go ahead, as long as they give you a ride. I'm like, all right, cool. And we would go to this, it would be every weekend, go there. And I went there. That's where I mean, my name is battling over there because no one knew who I was. You know what I mean? I was from another city, and then I showed up and then started smoking people. And then we always had like our older guys that were with us, and they were like over the managers. You know what I mean? But this club was from 12 years old to 21. It was a teen club.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And so yeah, after a while I would walk in that place, and I mean, when you're a kid, you get that much respect and that, people defending you and protecting you. You just thought you were the shit, you know what I mean? But yeah, it was that's when I knew that I was good, because I had that I had that support. I had people that were like, were gassing you up and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Now, were you the youngest one of all of them?
Yeah, I was the youngest. Yeah. So
now, youngest with the most energy, and they started realizing it quick that you were, like they say, a force to be reckoned with at that time.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I had more power than they did. You know what I mean? I had more flips, more power. I mean, even the other dudes in my team were pretty nasty too, but they were just different. That's all. But because I was a kid when you're back then, everybody's like, how it is back in the day. Then when the kid comes out, they're like, oh,
yeah. Now it's different. Now there's just like 1,000 kids, but back then,
exactly.
One little kid would be like, oh my God, I can't believe they're doing that.
Yeah, and then they go, and then back then, if a kid comes out and does what you did, like, you're smoked, you're done. You know what I mean? Like, who's gonna win? Even though it's the same, the kid's gonna win because it's a kid. You know what I mean?
Yes. Which is crazy, because now if you have a little kid battle, you probably get some spectators that will lean more on the kid because it's a kid. But now it's a little bit more tough for the kids, because mostly the level of skills with these kids, they're already going. You seen it now. Like, these kids are like on another level. Like,
for sure.
Like it's trippy now watching these kids.
I know.
They go at it with dudes that have been doing this for 30 years, and they've been doing it for 3 years. They already have all the moves that someone's been doing it for so long, which is amazing. Now, once you join them, were you inspired, like watching movies? What were the crews that you were inspired by that you saw on TV? Because you mentioned you had a lot of power and flips. Where were you looking at this? Was it kung fu movies? Was it like, what was it? Your own imagination? Like, how did this happen?
No, I mean, it was like a variety of everything back then. Definitely, back then, the kung fu movies were huge. Oh, I mean, that was a big thing. All the Bruce Lee movies. You see all these flips, and then guess what? You see them go jump off something, then you're like, oh, let me go jump, get on this car and jump off. You know what I mean? I mean, there've been plenty of times I've ran up a tree and the tree breaks, and I'm knocked out on the ground. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We weren't flipping on mat. We were flipping on grass. We were flipping on flipping off of picnic tables, flipping off of trees. You know what I mean? So I think the way I learned is just by being inspired by. I would see something, I would try to copy it. That's all, you know.
Okay.
And then my brother was really a good tumbler too, and he was younger than me, but he lived in another city, and so when he came, I saw him flipping too. I was like, yo, I got to get that too. You know what I mean? So it's kind of vibing off each other because we didn't have too much to look at, but you would see it move from someone else. You'd be like, I need to do that. You know what I mean? I want to do that. And you would go and you try to copy it, you know? And then you would have to try to figure out, you know, like say you're doing windmills. Where do I put my hand? How do I place this?
Yeah.
I didn't have no one to teach me. I had to figure it out. You know what I mean?
So it was all trial and error. Now, the fact that you were into martial art movies, do you ever do any martial arts like in a professional matter of joining a school? Or were you into that? Or are you one of the kids that were watching TV martial arts, but they got good at kicking, flipping, even street fights? It will work because you will fight.
Yeah. Actually, one of the things I did do with one of my brothers is go to Taekwondo, and I went to school 2 times, like about 2 or 3 years with him, and he was like a black belt, and I moved up quick, you know, but that's how I learned how to kick. That's how I learned how to do more flips. That's how I learned, you know, that's how the martial arts part of my dance came from there. You know what I mean? So
now, when you were in high voltage, how long were you in that crew, and how was it that you start like making it more of a career, a professional way? I know you're getting a little older, but I want to know like your teen years, like approaching your 20s, and you're in high voltage in this crew. How long were you in there, and walk us through what happened after that, like from high voltage moving on forward?
well, I think back then, because I was a kid, so I probably danced for 3 or 4 years with that crew, you know. But then as I got into high school, um, I started, you know, getting passion to do other stuff. You know what I mean? So and actually back then, when when I tell you it went commercial for a while, that it probably went commercial for 3 or 4 years, the actual b-boy scene, and then it kind of faded out of the commercial world.
Yeah, the late 80s. So the late 80s, you're in high school, then
Yeah.
you're getting into different things. What were you into? Because I know you're really into sports. You do stuff for Orlando Magic all the time, and like you're heavy in the sports. I noticed that you ride, like you're one of those ride or die sports fans. And me, it's so crazy because I'm so not that I'm not against it, but I've never really been a part of a team or I like
Right,
a team.
right.
You know, I literally left the sports part of it when it was like in NLB, Daryl Strawberry times, Jose Canseco, and of
Right.
course the Dream Team in the NBA when it was Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, Magic
Right.
Johnson. After that, I fell in love so much with breaking that I kind of like put that in the back burner. So,
Right.
but you remained, you did everything. You
Yeah.
still became a fan. You rocked the jerseys. And since I've known you, I noticed that you're a really, really sports fan. And I admire that because I've never really understood how that worked. And at the
Right.
same time, you're running a business, you're a sports fan, you're working with Orlando Magic, you're running a show, a business, a few businesses, you do DJing, you do so many things right now in 2023.
Right.
And back to when I said high voltage, you were there for a few years. I want you to just tell me, like, besides Taekwondo, you're in high school, you're doing that. What else were you into? Because I could tell you were into more than just martial arts. What else were you into in that time?
Well, I mean, throughout high school, the first thing I started with was football because number one, I was fast. Number two, I was strong. You know, it was hard to tackle me. You know what I mean?
Let me guess, running back or quarterback? One of those two you were
Running
probably
back.
was.
Running back.
I knew
Yep.
it. Okay,
Yep.
okay.
And so I mean, I started football in 8th grade. You know, so I did that, and then I skipped 1 year, and then when I went to high school, I started football right away, and it's almost like one of those things that when you're a kid or you're a teen and you like it's something cool to do, you know what I mean? Plus, I liked it, and people respected me for it. I did it, you know what I mean? So football was number one that I did. Another thing I actually did is I actually joined. I was like probably the first male cheerleader because I like to tumble. So
okay.
I was in high school, and I was like, and yeah, I didn't care what people thought about me. You know what I mean? I was like, I'm my own man, and most of the people wouldn't say nothing to me anyways, because all the football players knew, like they would tell them. You know, there was even a time in high school where some dude was like trying to get me out my desk. You know what I mean? And I was like, yo, I got the seat first. And he was like, you better move. He told me that, you know, and then my tight end from 2 rows over, a big dude, you know, and he goes, yo, you better leave him alone. He's going to fuck you up. He goes, that's Mighty Mouse right there. He's going to fuck you up.
Oh, Mighty Mouse.
That's what they would call me in high school, you know, so, so I can do whatever I want to do, you know what I mean?
Okay, now, were you a spotter as a cheerleader most of the time and the tumbler?
Yeah, mostly a spotter and tumbler, yeah. And then, because that was off season for football, and I was like, hey, there's pretty girls, why not go do that?
I was gonna get to that because I know you weren't doing this for tumbling. You're like, wait, I know how to tumble. I'm pretty strong. If I join the cheerleading team, I'm around girls. I could pick them up, put them down whenever I want. Hey, it works out for both of you. So that's all. That's awesome. Now, besides cheerleading, football, what else were you into?
I did gospel choir. I did theater. I did two or three plays in high school. I did one in college. So those are my passions. Like, and that's all.
Oh, so you were heavy into the performing arts, like theater and all that.
Oh yeah. I'm a big theater fan. Huge.
Now, wait. You said choir, meaning you were singing?
Yeah. I sang a gospel choir. We would go to state every year and win that stuff, you know. But
which I know the viewers are probably wondering why your voice is like that. And I want you to talk a little bit about what happened through the years, because when I met you, I know performing, emceeing, so many years you've been doing this. Talk to us, like, what was it that happened? Because this would happen, what, 5-6 years ago? Not that long, right?
No, probably over 10.
For real?
Yeah.
So talk to us about that, just to hear a little quick.
And I don't know. Well, like I sung in high school, I sung in college, and then I also, I sang for 6 years for Universal Studios.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Beetlejuice show for 6 years.
Yeah, you were doing the Beetlejuice.
Yeah, I played Wolfman for 6 years, and back then I had my voice, but I have there's nothing damaged in my voice, not like that from emceeing or nothing, but I have a very rare thing that certain people get is called spasmodic lymphomia. And all it means is there's a disconnect from my brain to my vocal cords. And sometimes it's like a short.
Yeah, because sometimes I've had conversation where you sound normal.
Right.
And out of nowhere, then it goes back to that. But it's funny, it adds character to you now.
I'm used to it now, and I think everybody's used to it already.
No, I am. And it's crazy because I can't even remember your original voice.
Right. I know, it's crazy, right?
I swear to you, it adds more character to you now.
Yeah.
So going back to that choir, performing arts now, I can imagine, do you win a couple of the talent shows?
Oh yeah, for sure. And we would I was a part of a group back then too, where well, obviously there's a lot of gangs, in Chicago area.
Oh yeah, man. Especially now. That's Chirac now.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean,
was it like that back then or not like now?
Oh, it's the same, but it wasn't as much shooting. You know, it was a lot of fights. You know,
Okay,
so
stabbing and shoot. I'm stabbing and fighting.
yeah.
Basically,
So
back then.
back then, you know, in high school, we I started working out with some of my boys and like that, and we ended up creating a group called a BBC, and it meant a bodybuilding crew, BBC crew, and we would work out together and all that. And I mean, there was even a time where in high school where we got so big, our group that like the disciples, they try to fight our top dudes, you know, our bigger dudes and all that, and us, and it lost. You know what I mean? Because all we did was work out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so you guys were strong. Y'all could fight 2 or 3 at the same time.
Oh yeah, they would drink beer and you know, or they were skinny. You know what I mean? It's like, and we were all just like, you know, jacked
Oh, so
up.
you guys were buff and brawlers at the same time.
Exactly. We wouldn't let no one. We would stick together, and throughout high school, no one would like. But we weren't like, we weren't bullies. Like we worked out because we like to, but we would defend ourselves. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We just wouldn't let people push us over. So that was another segment of my life that you know that I have some really good friends with that crew, and that was so that was another thing I did in high school. Is I was part of the weightlifting team and all that. You know what I mean? So I kind
Damn, you weren't playing around. You were trying to be involved in everything.
I was, bro. I did. I even did what's that called? Yearbook.
Oh, so you were part of the yearbook. It's funny. Me and Kay were talking about, she was asking about the whole yearbook thing. And I told her that I think I just came out in the picture. So if you could go back to that time in the yearbook, you have a bunch of pages and you're in it probably?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Now, what's the name of the high school? Was it Indiana or was it in Chicago?
It's about 10 minutes from South Chicago. It's called East Chicago Central.
East Chicago?
Central.
Okay. And now what was your class of what when you graduated?
89.
Class of 89. Dope. So, wow. So basically that is when breaking in hip hop was kind of dying out, the 80s. Now, question, were you into like the New Jack Swing, the New Edition vibe, all that type of music?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, I love the Boys of Men, New Edition, you know, Candy Girl, all that. I mean that's all. I mean, and a lot of times now that we DJ, you know, and I'll drop a song and they'll be like, "Man, how you know that song?" I'm like, "Yo, I'm a little bit older than you think I am." You know?
You lived it. And now let me find out how you were doing the Running Man everywhere you were at. You hear that through the Running Man.
Yeah. And now they call it shuffling, and I'm like, yo, I've probably seen, you know, like all the dances 2 times come back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because you've been doing this since the 80s, so I could just imagine how many times you see it come back and it's a different name. And you're like, wait, I already seen it. But that's happening a lot in music too. Like last time we were listening to music, and some dude named Masego, I'm probably saying it wrong. He reinvented the cha-cha slide, and it was pretty dope. I was like, really? Yeah, like
I haven't heard that.
I'm gonna send it to you, but I think I forgot the name of the song, but I'll send it to you. But I was like, wait, that's the cha-cha slide, and you could kind of hear it. Yeah. So that's happening a lot with dances as well. So now you're in high school. You're part of the yearbook, you know, club thing, and so now were you one of those that were going to different places trying to make people do a story and get the picture and do all that stuff? Were you part of like?
No, I work more just in the editing room. That's all. You know, doing that stuff.
Okay.
You know?
Man, you sound like a busy guy in high school, bro.
I was busy in high school, but you know, I was just like, I've always been like, you know, like, you know, they have groups in high school, like, you know, the jocks, the nerds, the whatever, the
The gothic crew.
They got you, but I was always a person that like I don't like I treat everybody the same, you know what I mean? Like I don't like
Yeah.
people bullying on people, like you know what I mean? So
So you can mingle with anybody.
oh yeah, and if they bother, you know, people who can't fight, I'll be like, yo, leave them alone. You know what I mean? It's like I don't like all that, you know, all that ignorant stuff that goes on in life, you know. But it is, you know, obviously I was in high school, so I wasn't about that, you know.
So
So
now in that high school, what was the majority of the race that was there? More whites, more blacks, more Latinos, like Asians, or what was the most that you saw there?
that was probably maybe 48 black Latin, and then 2% white.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, we grew up. I mean, it's all. I grew up. Well, like I said, a couple cities over was all black. But in mine, it was a media. You know, probably half and half. And then there were like, you know, 5 white people in our high school. You know what I mean? So,
Damn. So
yeah.
everyone knew who they were.
Oh yeah. For sure.
Damn, that must be crazy. Now,
Yeah.
when you graduated in '89, and you went to college right after, or you took a few years off, how did that work out?
No, I went straight to college, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. I just went to college because I didn't want to be losers in that home. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was doing something. I'm like, I got to do something. You know what I mean? And so I knew a bunch of my friends were going to a college in Chi. So I said, all right, I'm gonna go do that. You know, so I went to Robert Morris College in Chicago. It's more of a business college. I have a associate's degree in computers and accounting, and
Nice.
I probably never
So
used.
that's where you the boss man. That's where you the businessman. Okay. So you
Yes,
see, now I'm learning this because when I moved in 2003, 2004 to Orlando, you already had business, like, you were business savvy. You were already handling your stuff. You had your own business and all that. So, and you were still young. It wasn't like you were very old or anything. You were young still. So
no dancing. Yeah.
yeah. Now, around that time when you were going to college, were you here and there dancing, or was it more? What were you into in college then? Because remember, now we're talking about 1991, so you start noticing that breaking and all that's not coming back to like 93, 94. But around the early 90s in college, what were you doing, like, besides just going to school?
Well, like let's put it this way, like in college, or anytime breaking wasn't hot, I was still breaking, but I was breaking for you know, just for different for myself, you know what I mean? So
Okay.
I always, or I would use it in theater, you know what I mean? If I was doing a show, I would tumble in the show, I would break in the show. If I was performing at the basketball game, I would go do windmill center court, you know what I mean? So
A halftime show, boom, you throw windmills.
I'm breaking, you know, but
Oh, okay.
I just used it in my other arts. That's all.
Now, were you trained every day, or was it your training was performing? Did you practice 2, 3 hours a day, 4 hours? Were you like invested? Like, if you could tell now the current b-boys and b-girls, or not even current b-boys and b-girls, but hip hop, anyone that's dancing, they would train 3, 4, 5 hours a day if they want to be the best. Or you were you just throw down as it goes, as it happens. It
Right.
wasn't
Yeah.
something that you had a place that you were practicing 2 or 3 hours. Well, how was it for you?
Well, I mean, back then I didn't. I was too busy doing other stuff like school and stuff, but I never. I no, I did not train every day because obviously I had other. You know, I was doing other things like that. You know, but I was always you know, in shape and dancing and doing it. So I never lost it. You know what I mean? Did I grow in it at that time? No, I didn't grow at all too much there because I was just doing what I was already good at. You know what I mean? And that was, power and flips and all that kind of stuff. But so there was a space, in between the late 80s and mid 90s where I was just doing it when I needed to. You know what I mean? When I had to perform. 'Cause I was always performing, doing something, But then, once we get past all that and we get where I moved here and to Orlando and all that, that's when, it started to
What
change.
year? What year is that?
Well, the reason I moved here is because of sports entertainment. So in 90, 92, 93, let's say 91, summer of 91. I saw something on TV on the news, and it said there's an audition for a new group for the Chicago Bulls, and Chicago Bulls obviously at that time were, the shit. So Michael Jordan was playing all that. Obviously, I'm a sports guy. I love Michael Jordan, and I saw this audition. And this is a very crazy story, which I think is good for people or kids to know about too. Is that I saw that on TV, and I knew what it was going to be, but throughout the week, I just kept going, I'm gonna go. And then the night before, I hung out with my friends, and we ended up partying and drinking late. And so I woke up in the morning, and it was before the auditions, and I was laying there, and in my head, I was tired. I was like, man, I'm like, dang, today's that audition. I'm like, I'm not gonna go, And then I kept thinking and thinking. I'm like, I better go. I just go try to do it. You know what I mean? And so I asked my dad to give me a ride to Chicago, and he rode me to Chicago. And I walked into this big hotel downtown Chicago, and I'm walking through the audition area, and all I see is like professionals, like professional jugglers, professional whatever, dancers, hula hoop, whatever. They were doing all kinds of stuff. I was like, oh man, and all I did was bring me, me and some music, and that's all I brought. And so I ended up going to audition. There were 400 people to audition. I auditioned. I did obviously my personality, my dance, all that, and they picked 4 people, and I was one of the 4 that made it. And it was a group called the Incredibles for Chicago Bulls.
Oh snap! What year is that?
And that's how I started my professional entertainment career.
Dope. What year?
90. Well, late. It was the summer of 91, and then I worked 92, 93 for the Bulls.
Nice. So now you're with the Chicago Bulls. You're doing your thing, and now you're still up there? Or you moved over here already?
No, I still lived in Chicago.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So after that, what made you come out to Florida?
Well, the company who hired me was called Sports Magic Team, and they were based out of Orlando. So when I made the Incredible team, they flew me to Orlando to train. So we all came here, we trained, then they flew us back, and we worked the whole season.
Was that your first time in Florida?
Yes. Yeah.
How was that experience knowing you're going to Florida, to Orlando? And I could imagine the commercials of Disney World and Universal Studios and all that. How was that for you, a Chicago kid that hasn't really traveled, and now you're in a professional career, and now you're coming out to Orlando, Florida? How was that for you?
Well, I mean, that's unreal for someone like to, number one, to pay for, when you're a kid, you're like, they're gonna fly me there. They're gonna pay me to go there to train. I'm like, okay, obviously you're excited, and you're excited about that, but then you're also excited about next year I'm gonna be working next to Michael Jordan. You're like, oh my God, like I was in the hottest ticket in Chicago. Like that stadium, you could not get a ticket to go there. Every game sold out. Like, every game for years sold out. And if you need a ticket, it's gonna cost you. You know what I mean? So, So between both of those, you know, of course, I'm in another world. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm like, you know, in my head, I'm like, how is this happening to me? It's not real, you know. And then,
Were you nervous
see,
at all?
I mean, I wasn't nervous. No, not really. Because I mean, the nervous part was over. The audition was nervous for me, you know, because it was intimidating. You know, I was a kid, you know, so you know, once I flew out here, I knew that they, you know, I was part of the team. So it didn't matter, but I was more excited than nervous, you know.
Now, did you leave Chicago Bulls to come to Orlando Magic, or because it's part of the same entertainment thing, or you still remain at Chicago Bulls?
No. In 93, I was in the mid-season, and our bosses from Orlando would come up and, you know, do visits. And they were doing, at that time, they were doing all kinds of shows all around the world. And one of them told me, he go, if you want to travel around the world, you need to move to Orlando. I said, I'm like, they're like, if you want to travel and do all the stuff we do, you have to be where we're at. And I'm like, okay. I said, I'll be there next year. I told them. And I worked all summer building pools and doing all kinds of odd jobs. And I talked with my boys into moving here, and we packed up his little lowrider Celica. And you can imagine the Celica.
Drove it down all the way to the south.
Oh yeah, and we drove down here. I drove down here with $1,000 in my pocket.
Wow, how many hours was that?
About 19 hours.
19 hours. Now, back to the Chicago Bulls. You're performing with them, because I cannot leave this out. When did you meet Michael Jordan?
I met him the very first game. I mean, we're literally
the very first. Please tell me the story, because come on. This is Emcee we're talking about.
I meet him, but I don't, you know, obviously, when you do sports entertainment in your contract, you're not supposed to interact with them, you know? So,
but tell me the story, how you went there before you even saw him face to face. Like, how did that happen?
Well, first of all, you walk into a private entrance. So, and this is an old stadium. It's called Chicago Stadium. Right now it's United Center, but the old stadium was it was really crazy, because you walk straight across the floor, and you see the big, you know, emblem, and you look around this huge arena, and you're in awe, because I mean, it's huge, you know what I mean? And then we walked down these stairs. And this is like the infamous hallway where you see all the footage and videos of them, like, you know, getting ready to run out and all that.
Yes, yes.
And then there's 3 doors, and it's one door says Incredibles. Right next to it is Girls. It says Lovables, and right next to that door is the Chicago Bulls. So we all shared the same hallway. So. I mean, I could be sitting in my room with my door open, and I could see Scottie Pippen walk by, Horace Grant, and Michael Jordan, you know. So when I saw him, like, I say this story, and honestly, I've heard a couple other people say the same stories I say. Is when I saw him, like, he was like a god. Like, I've never been in awe of somebody. Like, the way he carried himself was like, there was like an aura around this man. I was just like, all you can do is just stand there, you know, because number one, you don't want to get in trouble. You're like right there, you're right next to him.
So did he come to you, or you saw him pass by? How did it work out?
Well, they walked right by us, and they would do their group huddle right in front of our room. So we could stand by our room like this, and they're right, like I could touch them. You know what I mean? So I was just like, in all, because I would watch them on TV all the time, you know. So, but that's probably the only like superstar that I ever seen that I was like, oh my god, like I actually had a glow. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, he's not human. But
so what happened after that? Like, you watching this man, like this freaking illuminated, godly human, like Michael Jordan, bro. Like,
you know, every game was the same, you know what I mean? It didn't change, you know. It was just like And then you watch him play, and you're just like, the the stuff he would do was insane. You know what I mean? The way he would hang in the air, everything you see, like if people never saw him or played against him, they wouldn't know who this man, like what he did. You know, like that's why even today people argue about LeBron and Jordan. I'm like you crazy? Like you have no idea. Like Jordan, people feared Jordan. They were afraid of Jordan. They were afraid to come into our stadium. You know, and I've even heard players say that. Players are like, oh, we would fear coming to play Jordan, you know, the next day. And they would always call him, they called Jordan Black Jesus. They called him.
They called him Black Jesus?
Oh, yeah, look on YouTube. They call him Black Jesus. And I'm not talking about, I'm talking about the people we played against.
Yeah.
They said, don't say nothing to Black Jesus because don't piss him off because he's going to go off and hit like 50 on you. You know what I mean?
Wow. So now wait, do you get to see them play? Who's that team that they were rough as hell with them? The
Detroit or
Detroit, yeah. Wait, was it Detroit?
Yeah, the Bad Boys, Detroit.
The ones that always beating them up and elbowing them, and it was Isaiah Thomas part of it.
Yeah, it was Detroit Pistons.
The Pistons, yes.
Yeah, the
you
Bad
got
Boys.
to see them play.
They called themselves the Bad Boys.
Oh, the Bad Boys. Now, do you see them play live?
Oh yeah, every team. I did every home game, so I did 40 games a year. You know?
So, where were you standing at when you're watching Michael Jordan play? Like because it's different watching it on TV. I've always watched it. At that time, I lived in Dominican Republic, so I would watch the NBA, you know, on TV, and I'd be like, and they put him in slow motion, all the pictures like that, and I'm like, what the hell? How was that live? You're there at the top of Michael Jordan, like what?
It was crazy,
like,
bro.
Where were you? Were you sitting? Were you standing? Like, tell me your view, your POV.
Well, I mean, we were entertainers, so we had full reign of the whole stadium. So I could go pretty much anywhere. Plus, we did all the contests, everything. Performances were all on court, so we were always down by the court. So, but the crazy thing is, I'll tell you a crazy story. Is that I've never seen this before. Is that every game, we could be you and me next to each other, and it would introduce the team, and then you would get ready for it. And when they said Michael Jordan, all you would see is like flashes, like strobe light all around the whole stadium. And then we could be talking right next to each other, and I'll be like, yo, Flash, you want to hear me? I could scream to you, yo, Flash. It'd be like, it was so loud that you could not hear each other.
And it will always be for his name.
Yeah, of course. Only Jordan. Yeah.
I mean, so every other player.
As soon as they said Michael Jordan, I mean, it was like, cover your eyes because it's like, you're like, I mean, he was known all over the world. You know what I mean? It was insane. And I was just like, man, this is crazy.
So now the other players never had like, okay, they're introducing each player, but when it came to Michael Jordan, that's when it leveled up.
Oh yeah. Every time. And I literally was there next to people. I couldn't talk to them and that's when I had a voice, you know.
Now, when you're finishing the show, was there any moment that you were literally next to him that you're like, that's Michael Jordan right here?
Well, I've been next to him several times. You know, because number one, the hallway, and he would, you know, be standing there and getting interviewed right by my room, and I just walk out, and I'm like, oh damn, sorry, you know what I mean? Because he would be in that hallway all the time. Also, you know, his mom, his dad, they would all be there. You know what I mean? So I mean. And then we would go out sometime downtown, and I would see him out downtown. But you know, you always just showed him respect. You know, and I wouldn't invade his space. You know, it was just dope to see him like, you know, that close. I mean,
so what held you from going up to him and shaking his hand and saying, "Sign my shirt, sign my back," something?
Right.
It was your career, your job. You were like, nah, if
I mean,
I
I
do
lose my
that,
job. Yeah. I mean,
wow,
well, I'm not gonna risk losing my job for that.
that must have been so hard for you, right?
It was hard. It was very hard. I
You're
mean,
like,
but
I'm gonna
like, there's
go.
so many moments, bro. Like I walked into my room one day. I came to work and our door was shut, and I'm like, oh shit, when do I shut? I pushed the door open, and sitting right there in the room, and Chicago Stadium didn't have big rooms. It was like a small room, and we all sat in that room. Opened the door, and sitting there was Scottie Pippen and Horace Grant eating Kentucky Fried Chicken.
You walked in and you saw, you were like, whoa, what's up? Like
Yeah,
now you got close to the other players, but Michael Jordan was the one that couldn't really be close to.
well, I mean, you couldn't get close to any of the players, but they were in my locker room. So
That's what I'm saying.
what they were doing is they were hiding in my locker room eating Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Oh, they weren't supposed to.
No. So I open the door and I go, oh, sorry. They go, it's all right, come on in. So I walked in, I let them finish their meal, and I was just sitting there chilling with them, and they were eating their chicken, and then they left.
Oh my God. That is so amazing, man. I could just imagine those moments now. And at that, like you said earlier, you're not carrying a camera around. There's no YouTube, there's no cell phones.
No,
It's not like
I mean, the only thing we had were those spinning,
the yellow cameras,
yeah,
the disposable cameras.
Instamat, yeah, disposable, exactly. So, I mean, even when if I got pictures back then, they're not very good. You know what I mean? Because the quality was garbage. You know.
Yes, it's now. So now moving to Florida. You're out here in Florida. You're part of is it Orlando Magic or not yet?
Yeah, I went straight from Chicago to Orlando Magic team. Yeah.
Okay, and you were still Incredibles?
No, we were called a Sports Magic team. So a Sports Magic team was an interactive entertainment sports team that would travel all around the world and entertain for basketball, football, soccer,
snap,
racing, all kinds of stuff. And so that's why I wanted to move here, because we would travel all over the place and do shows, you know. And so basically, Sports Magic Team is the original interactive sports team. And a lot of people don't know this, but that sports team started here in Orlando for the Magic, and then we went all around the country, and people saw what we did and they copied it. So now they have their own sports team. You know how you go to the Knicks and all, they have their own sports teams? It's because of us.
That's so crazy, because I ended up doing a lot of halftime shows for the New York Knicks. Right. So that was a copy from Orlando, Florida.
Yeah. We were the original.
Wow.
Yeah. Like the interactive team is the people that do all the interacting, shows in the audience, also shows on the court, but not necessarily a halftime show. But we did do halftime shows too. But we were the first interactive teams. If you go to any sports team, they have besides the dancers, guys doing other stuff, and that's us. That's what we did, you know. And they copied it and took it. That's all.
So how old were you around that time when you're now living in Orlando? And you got your roommate, you guys drove all the way down here, all that good stuff.
Well, I was maybe around 23, maybe, or around 23, I would think.
So now you're living in Florida, you're doing stuff for Orlando Magic. How were you still breaking or in the shows, or were you doing other stuff?
Yeah, I would break at all our shows around the world, around the country, you know.
So how was it that you started transitioning to doing Universal Studio, Disney World, or boat cruises, or just random things that has to do with breaking?
Well, I mean, I did sports entertainment first. That's what started me. And then when I moved here, obviously I did all the games, but I still had a lot of time. So I auditioned for the Beetlejuice show at Universal Studios because it was full time. I needed a full time gig, you know. And I didn't want to, I think my first job here was at Burger King. You know what I mean? So I didn't have a car. I had to work at the closest place. So
Mhm.
I was trying to level up and get a entertainment job, and I auditioned and made Beetlejuice or the. I
Now,
didn't.
now, were you trying? Do you have in your mind already what character you wanted to play in Beetlejuice, or you didn't care? You just wanted to have a job doing something.
No, no. I mean, I knew that the character for Wolfman was a hip hop Wolfman, so it fit my character.
Oh,
You know, and I knew that if he was hip hop, I could break, I could flip, and like his song was a rap. You know what I mean? The first part was like, I was hanging out on my neighborhood street, Walkman, the pumping. I was digging the beat or something like that. You know what I mean? So
how many years you did that for? You were the Wolfman during.
I held the top contract for 6 years.
So from what year to what
And
year that you can remember?
I closed the original show.
Oh wow! So for like from what year to what year?
So probably from around either 94 or 95 until like 2000, around that time.
And
So
what? So what you got into after that? So now you're the Wolfman character. You close out the show. Now
no, I'm still
wasn't
in the
B?
show.
Yeah, you're still in the show. So when was it that you stopped?
What, Wolfman or Breaking?
Yeah, Wolfman and Beetlejuice.
I don't really remember if I know it was between 2000 and 2002. Like I can't remember exact dates, but around that time. Because I know that while I was doing that, well, let me reverse a little bit. When I did, when I was with Chicago Bulls, I saw a team come do a halftime show for us. And the team was based out of Orlando, and they were a b-boy team. And the team was called Night Force,
Okay.
and that's my first time meeting Night Force and watching their halftime show. I was like, it kind of inspired me, because I was like, yo, I break by myself, but my other guys don't break, and I'm like, I was like, I want to do what they do, you know what I mean? And so I talked to them a little bit, and made friends with them and all that. So I knew they were in Orlando somewhere, you know what I mean? And while I was in Beetlejuice, somehow I ran into one of the guys, and he said he was wanted to try to get together and create a new group because Night Force had broke up.
Okay.
And that's where we got together and we started building. Our first crew out here was called G Force.
Oh, okay. So then it started Night Force, then it went to G Force, and then a few years later, how long were you in G Force for?
Probably 3 years, maybe 4 years, something like that.
Okay, so now moving on forward from G Force, then you started creating your own thing. You were like, now I'm gonna do my own thing now, and
No,
that's when you.
what had happened is, I mean, I won't get into negative, but I mean, there were four of us, and we created this. Like we practiced in the grass, we practiced in tennis courts, and yeah, the main guy, he had done it before, so he kind of helped us too. You know what I mean? But we built this brand together. We put our
Mhm.
own money in. We all collectively did everything together, and we
As a group.
as a group, right? So what happened? And we started getting really popular and getting booked at Universal Studios, and there were only four of us. So I remember a time where I was doing full time Wolfman, and then we got a contract at Universal Studios for Mardi Gras, right? And basically we the time where I was doing Beetlejuice full time, and we got a contract for Mardi Gras, so we started doing Mardi Gras. I would do maybe 5 shows at Beetlejuice, and then go do Mardi Gras, do another 3 shows for Mardi Gras, and at that time that we were really popular, so they kept extending us. So I ended up doing, I believe, full time, 5 days a week, with Beetlejuice, and then every day I did Mardi Gras for 72 days straight. So imagine doing like Street Breakz 72 days straight. But
That is crazy.
plus I had to do Wolfman. So I did almost 8 shows a day for almost 72 days. So um, at that point we were like, you know what, it's getting too much. So we had to finally start getting like some subs. You know what I mean? So because it was too much for 4 people. At that point, I remember sometimes I couldn't even walk because I was stumbling on concrete, and and by the end of the night, you're so exhausted, it's crazy, you know. So um, that's when G4s got really popular, and we started bringing out new people, and then one of our guys, kind of said he created everything, and it didn't work out. Basically, we were just 3 of us split from one guy, and we decided to try to do our own thing, and that didn't work out very well. And that's when I ended up going, you know what, I'm gonna do my own thing, and I'm gonna rename the whole show, because we couldn't use the same name by law. That's all.
Yes. Now, once you guys parted ways, were you still doing Wolfman for Beetlejuice?
Yeah.
So you remained doing that, and then you created Street Breakz.
Right. So then I was still doing Wolfman, and then Universal came to me and said they wanted, because we were like more of an acrobatic stunt show, with breaking, but Universal wanted something more street, and they came to me to create it. I already worked there, so they came to me and they said, "Can you do this?" I said, "Yeah," and that's when I started putting together the crew to do, to start our first shows and stuff. So,
which I want to show. I want to show a little highlight of the show right now. And I believe this is part of the movie. Tell me, where does it take you? Talk to me about this. Like, what's going on over here? What's this for?
I believe this is the opening scene. We Once we were there for a while, I decided to do a Street Breakz movie to sell as a product, as merchandise. And so I paid a Universal film crew to film us for almost a week and do different scenes. And we have this is, I think, our opening scene right there. So
mention some of the characters. Wait, is that you right there?
Right there, doing the flips. That's a Venom right there. We got
Flexi,
with Locker, Incredible
Josh,
Cloud right there doing hand up, as Flea doing head spins. That's Hep in the front right there. Venom again, and so those. That was after we were there for a little while. And then I had 2 girls that were gymnasts, but they would do all the tumbling and stunts. And we had a B-boy show, but I also added the acrobatics into it too. And there goes Who's So Fresh right there.
You got Legacy too. That was Legacy, right?
Legacy, yep. And yep. So that was after a while. So there's a lot of this areas right there. And I think Beast Mode's in there too as well.
So are these the original Street Breakz? Because I remember, these are the original Street Breakz, or who were the first 4?
I think the first team was me, Flea Rock, Legacy, and Hats. We were the originals, and then we started, bringing in new people throughout the years.
Dope. And I remember when I moved in 2004, that's when Incredible Josh told me about, yo, there's a dope show in Universal Studios. And this is funny. This is something you probably never knew about. I'm going to tell you right now, which is hilarious. So Incredible Josh moved out here, and I'm in New York doing my thing. I'm performing. I'm traveling the world with a show called Break Show. Traveling the world, doing bar mitzvahs on the weekends, just trying to figure it out. Like, Josh is in Orlando, and he's like, "Yo, I'm working at a mall." And no, he was living in Jacksonville. So I was like, "You're not breaking him anymore?" He's like, "Nah, man, I'm not breaking anymore. I'm done. You know, whatever." I'm like, "What? Why not?" He's like, "Yeah, man, I live in Jacksonville. I'm out here with my uncle." You know, like, so basically he went like to a regular job, and I was so tripped out about that. So I kept traveling. Then a year later, I believe, 2004, I'm talking to him, and he goes, "Yo, Flash, I'm in Orlando now." And I said, "Oh, snap, that's dope. I've never been to Orlando in my life. Like, how is that?" "Yo, it's dope. I'm part of this show called Street Breakz. I'm working with so-and-so and that person, and we do 4 shows and all this. Yo, it would be dope if you come out here, man, and do the show with me." And I was like, "What? Where's that at?" He's like, "It's at Universal Studios." And I was like, "Yo, I'm from the hood, Uptown Manhattan, Washington Heights, and they tell me that I could work for Universal Studios." In fact, I was already happy because he told me he was working for Universal Studios.
Right.
Now, meanwhile, us in the BX or Washington Heights Uptown, you hear the word Universal Studios, we're thinking it's motion pictures, Hollywood, like the movies. So I was like, "You working at Universal Studios?" He's like, "Yeah, man." I'm like, "Yo, that's so dope. Yo, I want to move out there then." He's like, "You sure? You could come out, and trust me, you know, I know the owner. He's a really cool person. He'll hire you. Plus, you have choreography. You could dance. You could flip. You know, you're already well-rounded. So you should come out here." And I'm like, "You're telling me I could go to Orlando, Florida and work at Universal Studios?" He was like, "Yeah, bro." And I'm like, "Oh my God, I can't believe this." So I came out here for the summer. I think I spent like 2 or 3 weeks. I ended up meeting you. I don't even know if we tried out or whatever, but I know I got hired. I went back to New York for a week, and I'm telling everyone in the hood, "Yo, I'm working for Universal Studios." And everybody's like, "Yo, really? Yo, you made it, bro." And I'm like, "Hell yeah, I made it. I'm at Universal Studios now." So I'm thinking I made this shit. I'm like the man now.
Right.
So now I'm living out there. I'm living in Orlando, and I'm part of Street Breakz. And then I'm like, I started realizing, I'm like, so this is what happens? Because remember, you know, Universal Studios, they have like the fake New York.
Yeah.
All those props. I'm like, wow. So me, like an ignorant person from New York City, I'm a city boy. I'm asking Josh and asking certain people like, "Yo, so where is it that they film the movies? Like, do you see actors here?" And they're like, "What are you talking about?" And I'm like, "This is Universal Studios." So that's something you never knew. I was so happy, dude. Like, it was like, I made it, bro. Like, I got my break.
No, that's what's funny too. Is like people always ask me. They're always like, "Hey man, how do you hire people?" I go, "I really don't have to." He's like, "Do you hold auditions?" I'm like, "No, not really." I said, "All I do is my boys will ask me if someone can join, and I'll ask them, well, is he good? Is he professional? Can I count on him?" And they'd be like, yeah. And I'm like, "All right, let's try him out then." You know what I mean? And that's how, for years and years, that's how I brought people into the show. I never had an audition, you know, like other shows. And then I would bring them in and teach them, you know, and I would teach them, but also we all taught each other, you know what I mean? We taught each other.
And I was so happy to join because when I saw my old members of a theater show that I did in the late 90s, Break Show, I saw Flea. I remember, I was like, "Oh,
Venom.
Snap." Venom, but Venom was not really part of the show back then with me.
Oh, okay.
But I saw all the cats that were Skill Methods and everyone else. That's how I met my 180 like later on. But I remember, dude, everyone was in it. Zeno was part of it, Flipside King, Lego, Rudy Goblin, They were staying at my crib when they were working for you.
Yeah.
Who else? So many, bro. Like everyone in Milky from Mayhem.
Master Mayhem.
Yes,
Remember Curly from Texas,
Curly and Sticka.
Stick, and then Puerto Rico. We had Chino Rock and Menex.
Menex.
And,
Yeah, man.
I
Dude,
mean, there was
you had
even one time we did Disney, and I had B-boy Ivan perform with us.
look at that. The urban action figure was even part of this.
Yeah, not me for for a couple shows, but yeah, he even came to our show.
And a lot of people don't know this is where it all started for them, like entertainment wise. They could tell their story, but when I remember, I saw the ones that went to Hollywood and did their thing now in movies. They're in Step Up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't even know how far that movie goes to now.
Yeah,
but
Cloud did The Greatest Showman.
That's right, Cloud too. Like so many, and you know what? You know what's so crazy? The way the world works. So I ended up then around 2011, 2012, because I was in your show for 2 years and I moved to Sarasota. That's the reason why I moved to Sarasota, and I was doing Break Show again.
Right.
So when I moved back and I'm out here around 2011, me and wifey were looking for a house to rent. We're looking everywhere. So she finds an ad that they're renting a house. This is pretty crazy, and I tripped out about it. So then we asked the landlord questions and, oh, this and that. Oh, what you guys do for a living? And then I'm like, well, I'm a dancer. I break dance. I do shows all over the world. I'm also a DJ, an MC. I'm telling the landlord like all the stuff that I'm doing. And he goes, oh, wow, that's so good because my daughter does that at Universal Studios. And I go, what? I said, yeah, my daughter used to date Cloud. And I'm like, your daughter used to say, who's her? She's like, Kelly. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Her dad? I love Kelly. Like, oh my God. I started tripping.
That's crazy.
Her dad was the landlord. And we ended up moving there, and I lived there for like 2 to 3 years. But we got the apartment, we got the house right away as soon as I said that. I think he didn't even check background, nothing. Like it was like, oh, you guys can move in.
You're good.
Because I guess he spoke to Kelly. Kelly spoke highly of us, and we moved in, and we were there for 2 to 3 years. And I tripped out how the world worked, man.
It's a small world, bro. It's crazy.
It's so tripped out. So I was there to 2006, and I know you remained doing the show, and then I came back. I did a couple of more shows, 2015, 2016, because then you brought the show. It was no longer in the truck, which was so dope, man.
Right.
I'm gonna tell you one thing, man. I had so much fun in that show because it was just, of course, you know, some of us were a little knuckleheads sometimes.
Oh yeah.
We act out, and you probably got all the freaking heat, all the letters and all the calls and all that. But lucky I was never part of none of that.
Yeah. You were good.
I was always a professional.
You were good.
and I'm gonna say it on this show. Some people felt some type of way because I remain myself doing certain moves. Because why am I going to try to do air flavors and everybody will kill themselves doing crazy stuff.
Right. Yeah.
I kept it smart. I'm like, hot ass freaking floor. You remember, you did the show too.
Oh, yeah.
Concrete, 4 shows. I couldn't even put my hand on the ground sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
Some of the dudes would pass out in the middle of the show. I remember one time we were doing the worm. And I told Zeno, I said, yo, Zeno, let me be in the front, bro.
Right.
Now I don't want to be in the back. No. You're going to be in the back. And I'm like, all right. I've never done the worm and done the back. I don't even know how that shit works.
Right.
So, dude, I throw the worm. I don't know if you heard of this. And when I threw it so high, he came off the floor boom, and yo, he knocked himself unconscious
What?
in the middle of the show, and he's there flat like this. And I'm like, yo, Zeno, yo, Mike, wake up. He's like, oh shit, yo, ladies and gentlemen, it's part of the show. We had to fake that shit. My
Yo.
man knocked himself in the floor like mad hard, yo.
Oh
And,
yeah.
and the heat exhaustion. The thing is, we didn't. Sometimes if we're running to work late, we wouldn't even have time to even eat breakfast. So we will go straight to the break room, go straight to the freaking truck. In fact, sometimes we didn't even make it to the break room. We're running to the show.
Yeah.
And we didn't eat breakfast.
Put your
And that was,
shirt on at the show.
dude, no, because sometimes we take the shirt. We'll come into the Universal already dressed up.
Right.
And we'll go straight to the show. And that same day when we didn't eat breakfast, we're jumping around. Zeno will go all out. And that day it got the best of him. My man knocked himself out with that freaking centipede, dude. Never forget that. And I remember it was me, Incredible Josh, I believe Curious, and him. And yo, the funniest thing is that when he falls flat and he stays there, I just look at that Josh, and Josh just run behind the freaking truck. And then I see Curious go inside the truck and put his head down. And I'm here standing with Zeno. And I'm like, yo, Mike, get up. And he gets up. And then we walk away. And we were like, ladies and gentlemen, that's part of the show. People thought it was part of, they were laughing. They thought it was part of the show. Another time, I don't know if you heard this one. It was Heps, myself, Josh. You remember that Tumblr guy that you had? That he was amazing. He had like long hair. He looked like a freaking Tarzan.
Oh, no, I don't remember. No.
He was a very good-looking guy and tall white guy. He looked like a gymnast, and he will tumble. He will do double fulls. Like he was one of the. Damn, I forgot his name. He also did other shows too, but he was in the show. I think it was him. So we're doing the audience participation, and Heps is like, "Yo, I want to be the other person at the end," and I said, "Yo, okay, I'll start it off." So Curious is doing the mic. And I start the wave, and you know when it goes to the last person, then they say, and Heps is gonna do the wave, and Heps starts going crazy. Oh, you know that part when we do that show?
Yeah.
So that day, we have a bunch of beautiful blonde girls right in front of us watching the show. So you know how that goes.
Oh, yeah.
You see, girls, we're gonna be extra now.
Oh, yeah.
The show. So we're there. I'm standing in the audience line like this. And then Curious goes, and the wave is going to start out with Flash, and it's going to go all the way down, and then it's going to hit Heps. And Heps goes, yeah! He does a gainer, but he doesn't clear the gainer, bro.
Oh, no.
And he lands face. Yeah. Curious, me and Josh, we didn't care. We ran behind the truck. We
I don't know how many times like stuff like that happened, and
oh my god, so many times that probably nobody told you shit.
I know. I don't know how we got away with that. I swear.
Yo, he got up and he was confused, dazed. He didn't know where the hell he was at. I never forget that, bro. And he's like this. He's like running into the audience. Guess what? As entertainers, we're gonna play it off like it's part of the show.
For sure.
So immediately I grab him and I'm like, ladies and gentlemen, that's part of the show. Whatever, we fixed it. But dude, I never forget that day. To this day, when me and Josh talk about it, just Habs, yeah, and he's stuck in the air like that, bro. One day, mention it to Habs if you ever see him, dude. That shit was so funny.
Yo, but what people don't understand is that, like, and you just said it too, is that how hot it was. We were doing those shows, like, and we would do these shows like
100 degrees and more sometimes.
Full time, 4 or 5 days a week, you know. And there were even times where we did 8 shows in one day because they were double shifts.
Yeah.
And, But you know what? Like Street Breakz, like made warriors. Like
Oh yeah.
you did Street Breakz and you went to go battle, like your endurance was off the wall. You would not get tired because you'd be battling inside in air conditioning, you know?
Yeah.
And like, as far as training, like back then, like b-boys of that generation, we were warriors, bro. Like they would
Yeah, man.
do a show, come back to the break room because we had a floor in the break room,
And train there.
train, go do another show, come back, train, go back, do another show, train. Like I'm telling you that, like I know that some of the battles back then, like that they won, was part of the reason why, because they were training all the time.
Not only that, they would do Street Breakz routines in there.
Yeah, that too.
I'm gonna be real with you. I used to watch that. In fact, I wasn't part of none of those crews because Skill Mentis, I wasn't with them. Mine 180s, I wasn't with them. So when I would throw down with other crews and we're battling them, I already knew what they were gonna do because
yeah.
they're about to do USA, they're about to do Metro. Look at them.
Yeah.
Oh, like we already knew what they were gonna
exactly.
do.
Everybody did our routines. It was crazy.
And they were worldwide. In fact, I saw footage. I don't know if it was Russia. Yo, they did Metro.
Oh, really?
A crew. I was like, yo, that's Metro.
Yeah.
Like the full routine. So
Yeah.
people were inspired all over the world. And in
yeah,
fact,
for
all you
sure.
got to do is Google Street Breakz with a Z at the end, and you're gonna see thousands of videos.
Oh,
which was an amazing part. And I thank you for that, man, for just giving the opportunity those 2 years that I didn't even know what the hell I was doing in my life, but that helped me. That helped me a lot, tremendously.
No, it's
So-
amazing. Like, amazing. I thought about what I always say that, like, well, Street Breakz made warriors, but it also made really good entertainers. Like, because that's what our show was about. What Street Breakz is we brought a hitting show to the commercial world, and we made it clean, you know, and we
Super
made it
clean.
work, you know, and our jokes when we first started were minimum, but as we grew into more and more shows, our content got bigger and bigger. So it made people, number one, I mean, I've had people say thank you because you made me amazing MC. You made me great with stage presence. You made me great with choreography, you know, and it's not me myself, but I mean, it was the opportunity to get around all that talent and learn. And we taught each other how to be amazing, you know, and that's why there was never to this day a show that could touch our show, because we would get in trouble for getting too big of crowds. Because we were
I remember that. We would block the street, and people. In fact, I remember we had haters, which I remember hearing it. We would walk around, and I'll see the Blues Brothers or other performances that are around. Nobody was in their show. Everyone will be sitting all over the sidewalk, waiting to take front row seats to see the show. Because what I would do, I would take my shirt off and I walk around acting like a guest to look around, and I'm looking at all these people, and I'm like, and then I'll ask them, I say, hey, what are you guys waiting for? Oh, we're waiting for the breakdance show, Street Breakz. Oh, okay. And we keep looking.
Hey, show them that video, that video of the Street Breakz show, and then look at the crowd that we use to get
okay around. Like this is a good one because you're in the beginning right there, right?
Yep,
that's you right there tumbling.
Yeah, we're doing the jump rope
with the jump rope.
Yeah.
Damn, that was so official. Yeah, there you go again. Dope.
Flea Rock.
Yep.
Oh,
that one is a red truck. That one is a red truck.
Yep. Remember we had a white one too, right?
Yeah, the white one too. Yeah, look at that crowd. Look at everybody in the back.
Look how thick that is. That's like 3 or 4 people deep.
Look at that. Yeah, it's a big audience, man. That's Legacy, right?
Yep.
The man that never gets tired. I swear to you. Out of everyone, Legacy for me, that man will do, like, he will never, I never saw him tired.
Well, like you said too, if there were girls in the scene, like they would show out, you know.
Next level, next level. Is that when it was in the New York City area, right?
No, that's in front of Monster Cafe. Right where Twist, yeah.
There you go, brother. Look at that. So freaking dope, man. Now I'm telling you, man. Earlier I even said it, man. I missed that show. Like, it was just so much fun, man. Like,
I know.
Like, and the dynamic of everyone was different. Like in the show, everyone had a different character. That's what made it. That's what made it official. Because look at that. That's like perfection of the centipede. Yep.
That's me and Carrie right there doing double cartwheel.
There goes Heps.
Yep.
It's crazy. You guys like went to the same University of Windmills.
I know. Right?
I'm not kidding you. You and Heps have the same style of windmills.
That's me and Heps right there.
Yep. Dope. Oh, snap. I never seen that one.
Yeah, we switched it up.
Oh, snap.
On microphone. Remember we had the headset mic?
Yeah, that's what the headset. That's in the beginning.
Yeah.
Oh. Yep.
This was always nasty right here. This was.
Yo, I love this right here.
Yeah.
Shoot. There goes Flea. Dude, I could tell Flea in silhouette immediately.
I know, right?
Immediately.
He still has been the same.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's and I remember you used to do headspins too. Where you like, I used to see you rock it. Is that Freakazoid?
That's Freakazoid. Yeah.
You see, I could tell who's who immediately by their style.
By all of them.
Oh, that's you right there, brother.
Yep.
You used to hold them along, like, damn, brother. Yes.
I think this was our. Oh, there goes a midget.
A midget. It's funny because now you can't even say that word. I heard.
I know. The small person.
we just said it.
Oops.
Good times, good times, good times, man. It's so official now. Now, will you say you still do Street Breakz, or you just do it in specialty acts?
Yeah, we just do it for special events. You know, when they book us, that's all. But right
now, I know you do the grad bash a lot. I always see that on videos.
Yeah, we did that a lot. I mean, we'll also book the show. So I created we know about Street Breakz, but I also have a show called Street Beats, which is also urban and urban tap dancers. So
that's the one that Clarissa Rocks was in it too, right?
Yeah, C Rocks. Yep.
Yes.
So I mean, everything I produce, I've always produced is because I love hip hop. It's always been from an urban mentality. I mean, I saw bucket drumming in Chicago with in Chicago. There's a group called Chicago Boys that are amazing. They're all they do is bucket drum. If you go around Chicago, you'll find them.
Yeah.
I mean, I combined it with hoofing, which is street tap, you know. So we have that show. We've done that show. I also book a lot of live graffiti events as well. I do graffiti walls for Universal, for Disney. You know, I have some great artists that have worked with me before, like Spin One worked with me. Lushy worked with me. Mars has worked with me. So I mean, everything that I produce is always from a street nature, but it's because I have love for this. I love for hip hop. You know what I mean? Like it entertains me, and I was like, you know what? When I was doing Street Breakz, I was like, you know what? I have one product. I said I need to get more products so I can book more stuff. You know, and that's when I started the graffiti, and I started creating some of my own shows and products. That way I have more products to offer. You know what I mean? But it's always coming back to hip hop.
Now, do you have Street Breakz, Street Beats, and I know you're doing something for Orlando Magic, right?
Well, I mean, I run the entertainment team for the Orlando Magic. They're called 321 Hype Team.
321 Hype Team. Now, what was the name before? Because didn't it have a different name before?
They changed names like 3 or 4 times already. It used to be the Blue Crew.
The Blue Crew. That's it
Yeah.
right there.
I mean, so I mean, I don't have control over the name. They Magic picked the names. But our name now is 321 Hype Team.
So this is Street Beats right here. I just a little bit right there. I found something.
Oh yeah.
Now, who are those brothers?
I have a flex in the front, and then in the back, drumming is X, and then what else we got there? We have a Silky, Mark, and I'm not sure who the other tapper. I can't see the other tapper yet. But watch them when they tap it. They're pretty sick. So everything, I built those drum kits, and then we brought people in and just started auditioning people.
Wait, who's that on the mic?
That's me.
Oh, that's your voice, bro.
You know what's funny
Wow.
is I still do mic, but now I do it more for racing because I have that rough sound. You know what I mean? Kind of like
Yeah.
like you say, the original. You know what I mean? So we're like, what is it? They don't know.
Oh, snap. And I love the style that you have because you still got like the Chicago style. Like your hip hop style is Chicago style.
Right?
That's
Yeah.
official.
So this show, the guy on the right, his name is Mark, and I think his name is Taps, but he helped me produce this show.
Now, what made you come up with this concept? Like, it was just one day sitting down and you were like, let's do tap dancers with bucket drummers. And
Well, my boy was always a tapper, and like I've always admired it, and I kind of felt like tap dance is a dying art, you know what I mean? And I was like, how can we make it like cool and fun again, you know what I mean, for people to watch? And I was like, well, the tap dancing is dope, but when you combine it with drumming and then make it more street, like buckets,
yeah,
that kind of gives it a whole new twist, you know what I mean? And like I said, the group I saw in Chicago was they're just straight bucket drumming. They don't even have drum kits. They just one bucket. I mean, I built drum kits out of garbage cans and buckets. I built them myself, and then Mark helped me develop the tappers, and we created the show in my basement. We created the show, and that show's been all over the country as well. Done halftime shows for Dallas Mavericks. Done halftime shows for New York Knicks. We did Madison Square Garden one time. We've done Charlotte Hornets. So I mean, that show's done a lot of big stuff too. So, and then one time when I one of the shows I produced for Disney, I combined Street Breakz and Street Beats and all the Disney characters, and we created a huge show called Mickey's America's Street Beat. And that's
Mickey's America Street Beat. I never heard of this.
Yeah, we're one of the only groups we are the first group. Street Breakz is the first group to ever actually get to allowed to perform with Mickey Mouse. With Mickey Mouse dancing, because usually Mickey Mouse would be a bookmark. He would be like, "Hey, welcome to the show," and then they'd be like, "Bye." That's why. But Mickey actually dances with us in the show sometimes. So
that is so dope.
I mean, we've had a lot of really cool stuff where we were the first, you know. And for Mickey is like gold for Disney, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
There's rules. They only allow him to do certain things, and one of the things they let him do was be part of our crew. They called him Hip Hop Mickey. That's what they called him.
Oh, that's so dope. Hip Hop Mickey. Now, did they ever create a character out of Hip Hop Mickey, like to sell, like the merchandise?
They sold it for special events. So if you look up, Mickey's American Street Beat is a big show, and we always
is that the Epcot one that you were doing?
Yeah, I believe so. Epcot. Yep.
So I think I saw something one time, but tell me if it's this right here.
But I think it's time we create.
Yep, that's it.
That one, right?
Are you
Yep.
ready? Oh, no. I said, are you ready?
Yeah, but this is a longer show. But I mean, the drummers are in it.
Oh snap! So you had even the B-Boys involved in it?
Yeah, it was Street Breakz combined with Street Breakz.
That's Freakazoid?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's Freakazoid.
Yep.
Yo, that is so dope. How long you guys did this for at Epcot?
I believe that was for a whole month or so. It was for a special event.
A special event.
Yeah.
And they didn't want it back?
I wish they did, but it was a fun show, man. You know what I mean? It was dope because it had everything in it, you know?
Yeah, I could tell, man. They're breaking.
Like it was Mickey dancing.
Oh, Mickey's up, Rocky.
Like he's doing a Metro with us.
Yeah. Now, Mickey can really dance? In this Mickey, of course.
But we had to obviously teach him.
But it would look pretty fresh.
Hell yeah, it was dope. You know, we would have him come in and
I would never picture Mickey like top.
He would do a routine with us and he would do a solo. But his solo was like, you know, like
popping.
Yeah.
That's dope. That's dope.
Yeah.
I want to move into more of your opinions on certain things, like in the current state of hip hop culture. What is something you would like to change?
I just think that in the current stage right now, I would like that if for them to be more educated on the culture. That's all. You know, I think it's beautiful that b-boying and hip hop is going to I mean, once they hit the Olympics, it's going to be very commercial, and honestly, that's something that I've always dreamed about is b-boying getting the same respect as all these other extreme sports, like skating, like BMXing, like, you know, all these other sports for years and years have gotten respect for their art and their craft. Guess what? B-boying is just as hard as any of those sports, and it should be rewarded in the same aspect. It should be rewarded with opportunity, with pay, with everything that all these other sports get, because for years and years, you know, you already know, like a b-boy go do a video and they like, hey, here's $50, go spin on your head, go spin on your head, kid. You know what I mean? Like, no respect. You know what I mean? Like, you don't know how long it takes a person to do those skills, just as much as a gymnast. Okay, so like,
or even harder.
That's right. For me, and more pain. Like for it coming into the commercial world, I'm like, thank you. I wish it would have happened when I could have been a part of it, but you know. And
we both know, because we both tumble, we both do power moves, so we know the gymnast side, right, the tumbling side, and we also know the breaking side. So we know how difficult. Once we learn the flips, we learn the flips.
Right.
How many flips? Of course, if you want to move into a triple, quadruple, but once you got your back handspring, your whip backs, your layouts, your back tucks, we will utilize it and put it into our breaking. Right. But then now breaking is like levels of moves that it's on a this people freaking doing air flares on pinkies and
I know,
fingers and
like the stuff they're doing. I mean, mad respect, obviously, but also they like what we talked about earlier is they have more opportunity to learn quick because they have videos all over the internet to teach them. You know what I mean? Like we didn't have that. I didn't like you kept asking me, how did I learn? I learned by hard work and by seeing stuff and just doing it and trying it over and over.
And half the time, imagination alone, trying to figure out what you think you saw.
Right, exactly. I didn't know how to, I'm doing windmills like this, and like my arms should be, backwards. So, you know what I mean? So I learned that through time, but it's just little things that you can teach someone there where they go, I get it, and you learn quicker. You know what I mean? Then you move on to the next move. I mean, I don't take nothing away from the kids now because they're doing amazing stuff. But be educated and also be appreciative of the people that came before you. That paved that road for you because there's a lot of people that paved the road. Even for me. I mean, in the 70s. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I mean. You have to show love to the old generation because if it wasn't for us, like hip hop would not be around right now, and it wouldn't even be coming to the Olympics. You know what I mean? We did a lot of shows and a lot of stuff for free for people.
Oh, definitely. That's part of what they say. For exposure. You could do this for exposure.
Oh, everything was that. Everything. For exposure. How many times have we heard that?
Oh, and then one day it's like enough is enough of exposure. I need money now.
Yeah, exactly.
It's funny now. What is something? And I know you've been doing this for a while. You've been contributing companies and creating businesses and jobs for b-boys and b-girls, tap dancers, musicians, everything, even for DJs as well. What is something right now you can contribute to the culture to make it even better? Or that you're doing already? You could just mention a few little things.
I always try to do that. I think just donating a little bit of your time here and there, to educate, because education and like I just got a new kid in our group, and it's funny. This kid watched us when we were in Street Breakz, and when I gave him the opportunity to be part of Street Breakz, which I've done for many people, I mean, he was like in another world. He was like, I'm part of something that when he was a kid he was watching. You know what I mean? So it gives him I show him respect. He shows all of my people respect, or Street Breakz respect, and guess what? He has that same fire burning that I had. You know what I mean? And I get it. I understand it. Even though my fire is not that strong anymore because I'm not in the scene. But I mean, I still.
Are you utilizing that fire to provide it to give it to others? You're passing it down anyways.
And give him an opportunity again. You know what I mean? And
so you still have that fire. You're just not using it for yourself. You're using it for others.
Right. And I also once I stopped dancing, I was like, what else can I do? So I started to DJ because I love music. I love the music part of hip hop. You know what I mean? So now I've jumped from one element to another element, you know what I mean? And but I'm still in the mix, you know what I mean? Like no pun intended, but but you know what I mean? I'm still me, you know what I mean?
And you're still a b-boy at heart because I see that shirt too. It says b-boy lifestyle, right?
Lifestyle, that's right.
Okay, isn't that the only?
Me and that's ours, both of ours.
Oh, okay. That's what's up. What does it say in the bottom? Let me
some t-shirts together. That
power, style, originality. Dope. I have to cop. You have it in black and white.
That's I got you, son. I'll send you one tomorrow.
Okay. Word. Yes, that's right. Now, do you? Earlier we were talking about just when you said that these kids need to give the respect, do you feel there's a lack of respect for the elders in the hip hop culture?
I mean, I mean, sometimes, I think they don't take the time to know, who you were or who you are, or you know what I mean, where you can talk to someone and they're just like act like they don't know you, or you know what I mean, but they don't like they don't know the work a lot of people put in, you know what I mean? And I think even for me, I just think I've always been taught, I know you've been taught, what are the elements of hip hop? And then it always ends with knowledge, right?
Yep.
So, knowledge is powerful, you know what I mean? And I think um, if we show that kind of respect, we need to show that kind of respect to one another, because we're in the same game. We're not competing against each other as far as when we're battling, but we all love the same thing, you know what I mean? So it's like take the time to learn what people have done that way, and sometimes you don't even know who you're talking to, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Someone could be talking to me and be like, who's that clown? You know what I mean? Like, you don't even know what I've done or what I've been through.
Yeah, and they don't even know that they got that you're probably looking for an opportunity to give to a new b-boy that could change their life, and
Right.
they're probably talking smash right next to you, and you're like, man, you just lost your chance, buddy.
Right. Or, just the fact that, look, I mean, like, I worked with some of the best b-boys in the industry my whole life. Like, and they show me respect. So guess what, young buck, you need to show me the same respect. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Because I mean, I just think it's right, not because.
So it's like if you got respect from all the Chicago Bulls player back in the days, and then you go to a basketball game, and you're at and one, and these young bucks not giving you respect. They don't even know you were even part of the Chicago Bulls as entertainment.
Right.
So they look at you like, who's this punk?
Yeah.
And then once you start dropping, like, my man, I walked in when Scottie Pippen was eating freaking Kentucky Fried Chicken. You can't say that story.
Like, I'll say something. I mean, I still have a couple little pictures here and there, that I show people, but it's like even with my sports team, you know what I mean? They like my sports team. I got about 30 performers that work under me, and they all show me respect. You know what I mean? Because they know that well, number one, they know the story of how we were the originals creating interactive teams and all that. Like, I know everything plus twice more than you know what I mean? But that's why I'm in the position I am, is because I put my time in. You know what I mean? I put my time in, I put my work in, and for b-boying and for sports entertainment. So,
and you're still putting in your time, because
I'm still doing it. I'm not done
you're
yet.
full time. You're the boss man. Like, you're still boss man to this day. Like, you're not working for anyone. You're still working for yourself, and it's inspiring, like, to just do that. And not only that, like, the years you've been doing this, do you feel like when someone goes up to you and calls you an OG, do you feel like you want to take it, or do you feel like, don't call me an OG? How you feel when they say, man, you're an OG?
I think that's 100% respect. Like, I take it, I am. What am I? I'm not gonna be like, hey, I've been in the business for a minute. You know what I mean? OG,
almost 3 decades, right?
Yeah, OG to me is a sign of respect. So I think.
And I know some people say, hey, OG, original gangsters, but I just say, or some say old guy. OG, old guy, but the slang of hip hop, OG, old school, someone that's been around the block.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. It's
Do you keep in touch with people in Chicago? You got a lot of family up there in Indiana?
I mean, I have family up there and I have friends, but I mean, I've been there so long, my list of people that I know is like probably you is insane. So, there's people that come up to me and they're like, "Hey, what's up, bro?" And I'm not around you every day. I'm like who this guy? You know what I mean? And,
Yeah.
but you know me from something, So
And you're known in Orlando for sure. Actually, Florida, because me running my own business and going to different corporate events, and we just start talking, and I'm like, yo, I've seen you before. Oh, who you know? And then I say, I've worked before in Universal Studio at the Street Breakz, Al Fuentes. Oh, I know Al.
Right.
Oh, I know Al. Like, it's all the time. And I'm like,
Right.
damn.
Yeah.
And then one day I'm signing up for like a barding company, and here comes, I see a freaking your name up on top. I'm like, what the hell? This guy just appeared in a barding company. Like,
Bro, I do
I
it
was
all,
like,
bro.
this man is everywhere, dude.
The hustle is real, son.
Yeah, the hustle is real. Now, if you could go back to being a kid again, what would you tell yourself? And the reason why I'm asking you this is like, imagine you take a time machine and you go back and you visit Al Fuentes back then, that kid that was with the big black twins. You could go and appear in front of him and he knows you're Al Fuentes from the future. Kind of like the Terminator. You go back and you talk to him. What would you tell yourself?
Wow, that's a deep question.
Because we got kids that are 10, 12, 15 years old that probably watch the show, and they want to hear if they could probably be someone in their life, or be inspired by what you've done in your life. So just think of something of what you will tell that young Al Fuentes, things not to do, things to do, or whatever you want to say.
I would say to always take steps forward, because a lot of people in life always like, things don't happen for me. Things don't, like, you have to take chances. You have to take risk, because if you don't step forward, nothing's going to happen. Nothing will ever happen. If you don't make a move or to the left or the right, you're never going to see what happened because of that. Because life is a street, but then you got exits and you got to decide where you want to go. And just like with the Chicago Bulls, if I didn't get up that one day, if I didn't get up and go, you know what, I'm going, regardless if I'm tired, regardless if I'm hungover, regardless of I don't have a car, all that's against me, regardless if I'm not a professional at that time. You know what I mean? I made that move, and that one move changed my whole life. So you never know what's going to happen. So to be positive, it's like they say, this other day is a baseball player, right, that goes up to bat, right? Baseball player. And let's say they're averaging 3 point whatever. You know what that means? That means that every time they go to bat 10 times, 3 times they get a hit. And they're professionals. You know what I mean? So, and 3 times every 10 at bat is good for a baseball player. Most are 2 point something. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So imagine that 7 times you strike out or you get an out. But there's still professionals. You know what I mean? So,
but they're still going for it. You're saying they're still swinging.
You're still swinging, right? And they're still the greatest. They're still the greatest in that sport. I'm talking about professional players. You know what I mean? So, my story is that you're not always going to get a hit. That doesn't make you a loser. You get up and you try it again, and you try it again. That's how you become great. Is you don't give up. So
going back to Michael Jordan, like the quote, or I don't know who created it, but I remember seeing in a book that he missed 9,000 shots or something like that to become Michael Jordan.
I don't know the exact quote, but
it's something around there, right?
Right. There's And it's the same point that I just made with baseball. Is that,
which is beautiful. I love that. So
you know,
you're saying swing even if you miss.
yeah, swing. You only live one life. You know what I mean? And be who you are. You know, because like you don't know how many.
That's
times,
the next shirt right there. Swing even if you miss.
That's it.
That's the shirt right there.
And like
That's-
just be who you are, man. You know, I've been where I am, like my whole life. You know, and a lot of times, like I got judged because of how I look, because of how I dress. You know what I mean? Until I proved myself. You know, then I sat at a table with the vice president and all the big wigs of Disney. They're all asking me, Al, how do we do this for the show? How do we do this? How do we do that? You know, like a little kid from Gary, Indiana, and I'm sitting with the vice president of Disney. They're showing me respect.
Amazing.
With my hat on, with my chain on, and I'm sitting at the round table. Like you can do whatever you want. When I was sitting there, I was like, yo, like, am I supposed to be here? You know what I mean? Because you know what I mean, bro. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
like, and I've just, I just gave him my opinion, and then we created, 2 great shows together. So
and we're still going. You're still doing this, man.
Oh, we're still doing it
till the wheels fall off.
That would be my message, and just swing. That's it.
That I love it. I love it. Now, if you could be remembered for one thing, what would it be?
For always treating people the same, always caring about people, always trying to help people. I just want to be remembered as a good person. You know what I mean? That's why even to this day, I'm always, trying to help people. You know what I mean? I think it's important. I think it's important to show other people love, to have a good heart, because to me, not having a good heart, like that's just ugliness to me. Like I look hard. I mean, like when people see me and all that, but I'm the nicest person like you would ever meet. You know what I mean? That's what I want. I would want people to know, that, Al was a good dude, and he helped me out. He helped a lot of people out. That's what
you have a giving heart.
Right.
Giving heart. That's how you want to remember. That is beautiful. That is beautiful said. And Al, we're at the end of the show. So this is what we're gonna do right now. I know there's so much to talk about. 3 decades, we will have a 24-hour show.
I know, right?
If you really think about it, brother, to break everything down, it'll be insane.
I know.
This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give you right now your own screen. I want you to let everyone know, what are you up to these days? Where can people find you online and connect with you? So, brother, take it away.
What's up, everyone? Thank you for watching the show. Right now, I am still working on booking all kinds of shows, DJing all over Orlando. You can find me on IG at High Voltage ENT, and on Facebook at Aurelio Fuentes. You can find me there, and reach out to me if you need any help or anything like that, and you can reach out or DM me or whatever. And I appreciate all the love from Flash. Been a blessing to be working in hip hop for years and years, and we ain't done yet.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful, man. And let me tell you, man, a lot of people been dying to hear your story. They've been dying to know, because when a boss man like yourself, you hire someone, there's a level of respect that you don't even want to question certain things. So I've been dying to be like, yo, man, the day that it gets here, I think I was just talking to Ellie the other day, like, yo, no, exclude. So, yo, I can't wait to talk to Al and just hear more about these things, because you're one of those brothers that we need to definitely highlight, because you have paved the way for a lot of entertainment. You have opened so many doors for so many b-boys, b-girls, DJs, promoters, just so many people, and probably people that you don't even mention, because there's so many, and you're connected. I believe in your network is your net worth, and you have proven it, because as I moved down here in 2004, I have realized how many people know you, and you're always stepping it up and doing something different and moving on, and you're always moving forward. And that was in the beginning that you said you got to always move forward, and it's beautiful that you're still doing this, and we can still have a conversation. Tomorrow we're gonna get to hang out and just talk more about, and go give you a flashback. That's my name.
I appreciate all the kind words, my brother. Guess what? You are a product of my success. So I'm all proud of you and all you do. And that's why it was a pleasure to be part of a Flash Talks. So thank you.
Definitely.
One love.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is Al Fuentes, aka Flip Rock, from Street Breakz, Street Beats, everything we mentioned. Thank you for watching the show. I go by the name of Flashback. This is Flash Talks, history worth listening to. Ladies and gentlemen, peace out, y'all.
Peace.
Yeah.